The lumina of Lumen Prime existed in a state of perpetual, harmonious symphony. Theirs was a silent world, not because they lacked the capacity for sound, but because their primary mode of communication, of being, was telepathic. Each lumina was a note, a chord in a vast, interconnected psychic melody that defined their society, their art, their very consciousness. They were beings of pure, shimmering light, their forms shifting and flowing like living auroras, their thoughts and emotions shared seamlessly in a gentle, ebbing tide of collective understanding. For the lumina, beauty was harmony, order was serenity, and individuality, in the human sense, was an almost alien concept, a discordant note in the grand composition. When humanity first blipped onto their long-range sensory nets, the lumina had regarded them with a detached, almost clinical curiosity. Humans were loud, not just in their physical vocalizations, which the lumina's delicate auditory receptors picked up as a jarring cacophony from stray radio waves, but in their entire energetic signature. Their emotions, broadcast unintentionally into the psychic ether, were like sudden, chaotic bursts of static, sharp spikes of anger, overwhelming waves of sorrow, giddy peaks of joy, all clashing and competing. Human attempts at art, particularly their music, which the lumina occasionally sampled from intercepted deep space transmissions, were considered the auditory equivalent of a stellar nursery exploding. All vibrant color and uncontrolled energy, lacking the subtle interplay and serene elegance of Lumina's own light and thought compositions. They were, in the Lumina's unified assessment, a species of interesting, if somewhat primitive noise, best observed from a great distance and largely, politely, ignored. Centuries ago, Earth had launched the Voyager III probe. It was a vessel born of boundless optimism and a charmingly naive desire to share the human experience. Unlike its more scientifically focused predecessors, Voyager III's primary payload was cultural. It carried the Golden Symphony, a vast archive of human music, painstakingly curated to represent the breadth and depth of human emotional and artistic expression. There were soaring classical concertos, heart-wrenching blues, defiant rock anthems, intricate jazz improvisations, folk songs carrying tales of love and loss, the primal rhythms of tribal drums, the synthesized landscapes of electronic music, even the raucous, joyful noise of children singing. It was a message in a bottle, tossed into the cosmic ocean, a hopeful testament to a species that felt everything all at once. Then, through a series of minor navigational errors and the slow, inexorable tug of galactic currents, Voyager III went silent, its mission presumed lost, its trajectory carrying it far from established space lanes. It drifted for generations, a forgotten speck of human hope, until it blundered into the serene, well-ordered periphery of Lumina space. The Lumina scout vessel, Silent Current, was on a routine deep space patrol, its crew of 3, Leah, Than, and Rel, merged in their usual state of tranquil shared consciousness, monitoring the silent hum of the void. It was Leah who first registered the anomaly, a small, inert, metallic object tumbling through space, primitive, non-lumina in origin. Object detected, Leah projected, her thought a calm ripple in their shared mind space. Non-hostile, appears ancient, human by its energy signature. Curious, Than replied, his mental tone one of mild academic interest. Their artifacts rarely stray this far. Shall we retrieve a sample for archival, as per protocol? Affirmative, Rel, the vessel's senior, assented. Approach with standard caution, though caution and human artifact rarely yield significant interplay. This was the closest Illumina came to a wry jest. The Silent Current extended a delicate tractor beam and drew the Voyager III probe into its sterile analysis bay. The probe was battered, space-worn, but intact. Lumina non-corporeal manipulators, tendrils of focused light, gently scanned its surface, then probed its interior. They found the Golden Symphony archive. Its primary function appears to be data storage, Leah observed. The data is encoded as audio patterns, music, as the humans term their structured noise. Perhaps a brief sample is warranted before cataloging, Tharn suggested, a flicker of what, in a human, might be called curiosity entering his mental projection. To confirm the nature of the signal, their primitive transmissions are often misleading. Rel considered this. Direct sensory input was rare for the Lumina, who preferred the purity of telepathic information. But this was a contained artifact. Permitted, isolate the playback to this chamber. And Leah, dampen the amplitude. We are aware of human exuberance. Leah focused a tendril of light on the probe's playback mechanism. The ancient human technology, surprisingly, responded. A signal was sent to the analysis bay's atmospheric speakers, a concession to studying species who still relied on such crude sensory organs. Leah, anticipating a jarring blast, had already set the volume to the lowest perceptible level. The first notes that emerged were not a blast. It was a lone cello, Johann Sebastian Bach's cello Suite No. 1. A simple, melancholic melody, yet imbued with a profound, structured sorrow and a quiet, resilient beauty. For Leah, Tharn, and Rel, the effect was unexpected. They did not hear it as humans do, as vibrations in the air processed by ears. Their entire beings were sensitive to energetic frequencies. The music, even at a low volume, bypassed their auditory sense and struck directly at their shared psychic consciousness. It was not data, it was feeling. The cello's mournful tone, so carefully crafted by a long-dead human, resonated within their unified mind not as information about sadness, but as sadness itself. A pure, distilled emotional frequency they had never encountered. Their collective harmony, usually a serene ocean of light, suddenly experienced a ripple, a distinct, localized current of melancholy. "What is this?" Tharn projected, his usually calm mental voice now tinged with a strange quaver. The shared mind was no longer perfectly unified. His individual node within it felt heavy. Before Lear or Rel could respond, the archive shifted. The cello faded, replaced by the defiant, crashing chords of a rock anthem, "Queens, we will rock you." The primal, driving beat, the raw power of the vocals, hit their shared consciousness like a series of percussive meteor strikes. The serene ocean became a choppy sea. "Energy spike," Leah gasped, her light form flickering. This wasn't the gentle ebb and flow of luminar emotion. This was a tidal wave of aggressive confidence, of unified defiance. The concepts were alien, yet the feeling was undeniably present, washing through them, forcing their individual aspects within the collective to resonate with it. Then came the blues. B.B. King's guitar wept, a sound of such profound, weary sorrow and resilience that Tharn felt an echo of it deep within his own core, a feeling of individual suffering he had never known. The Luminar experienced shared discomforts, fleeting anxieties, but never this personal, soul-deep ache. "Stop it, Leah," Rel commanded, his own light pulsing erratically. But his command was slightly out of sync with the others, a discordant note in their usually perfect accord. He felt agitated, an emotion distinctly his own. Leah tried, but the probe, now fully activated, was cycling through its vast library at random. A burst of joyous, infectious jazz trumpet, Louis Armstrong's voice, gravelly and full of life, singing "What a Wonderful World." For a confusing, disorienting moment, a wave of inexplicable optimism, a sense of individual delight in simple existence, washed over them, clashing violently with the lingering sorrow of the blues and the aggressive energy of the rock music. Their shared mind, their beautiful, harmonious collective, was fracturing. Each piece of music introduced a new, powerful, and often contradictory emotional frequency. The soaring triumph of Beethoven's Fifth, the heartbroken lament of a Puccini aria, the playful irreverence of a folk jig, the terrifying, chaotic energy of a heavy metal track by a band whose name would have scandalized them. Each was a psychic hammer blow, creating new, distinct emotional states that their unified consciousness had no framework to process or integrate. Leah, Tharn, and Rel were no longer just Lumina. For the first time in their existence, they were Leah, Tharn, and Rel, three distinct points of awareness, buffeted by a storm of alien emotions. Leah felt a strange pull towards the melancholic cello. a resonance that was uniquely hers. Than found himself horrified, yet strangely compelled by the raw power of the rock music. Rel felt an overwhelming confusion, and a new, sharp emotion he would later identify, with much distress, as individual fear. This is cacophony, Rel managed to project, but his thought was muddled, no longer a clear wave in the shared pool, but a desperate shout in a hurricane. It's breaking the unity. The human trait, unintentional emotional contagion through art, was revealing itself in its full, terrifying power. Humanity hadn't sent a weapon. They had sent their hearts, their souls, their collective emotional spectrum condensed into sound. And for a species like the Lumina, who lived in a state of perpetual, delicate psychic balance, it was devastating. It was like force-feeding a lifetime of human emotional intensity into their minds in a matter of minutes. Leah, finally, managed to sever the power to the probe's playback. Silence returned to the analysis bay, but it was a different kind of silence. Not the serene, interconnected silence of before, but a fractured, stunned silence, heavy with the residue of 1,000 alien emotions. The three Lumina regarded each other. Their light forms were dim, flickering. The seamless flow of thought between them was gone, replaced by a hesitant, almost shy awareness of each other as separate. "Are you harmed, Than?" Leah projected, her thought now feeling small, isolated. I feel I do not have the designation," Than replied, his mental voice weak. There was a sorrow, then a strange elation, now an echo of aggression. It is loud, inside. Rel, as the senior, tried to reassert control, to re-establish the shared harmony. "We must analyze this, report this. This human music, it is not mere noise. It is a force. It imposes emotion." But even as he tried to project calm authority, a lingering thread of the defiant rock anthem pulsed within him, a disruptive, exhilarating, terrifying beat. The journey back to Lumen Prime was strained. The usual effortless unity of the crew was shattered. They communicated in short, hesitant bursts, each aware of the turbulent, unfamiliar emotions still swirling within their individual minds, and acutely, painfully aware of their sudden, jarring separateness. When they presented their report, and a carefully shielded recording of a mere fragment of the Golden Symphony, to the Lumina High Council, the effect was magnified 1,000-fold. The Council, the very nexus of Lumina's collective consciousness, experienced the psychic shockwave. The serene harmony that had defined their civilization for millennia fractured. Some council members recoiled in horror, their light forms dimming in psychic pain. Others, to their own deep consternation, found themselves experiencing echoes of human joy, of longing, of fierce, illogical passion. Chaos rippled through Lumen Prime. The shared mind, the great symphony, was disrupted by discordant notes of alien emotion. Some Lumina, overwhelmed, retreated into psychic catatonia. Others, experiencing true individual feeling for the first time, reacted with confusion, fear, or even a strange, illicit fascination. Debates, something previously unheard of as all perspectives were instantly shared and harmonized, erupted. Was this human art a psychic plague, a weapon, or something else? Humanity, previously dismissed as a noisy irrelevance, was suddenly reassessed with a mixture of terror and awe. They were not just broadcasting random chaotic energy. They were capable of crafting it, shaping it, imbuing it with such potent emotional resonance that it could shatter alien psyches, break down ancient collective consciousnesses, and force the experience of raw, untamed individuality upon a species that had never known it. Their music wasn't just entertainment. It was a psychoactive force of unimaginable power, an unintentional catalyst for existential crisis. The Lumina society was irrevocably changed. The old, perfect harmony was gone, replaced by a more complex, often painful, but undeniably more vibrant state of being. They began the long, difficult process of understanding these new, individual emotions, of trying to forge a new kind of unity from the fragments of their old one. Some Lumina even began to cautiously explore the human archives, not as a threat assessment, but with a terrifying, compelling curiosity about the species that could feel so much, so deeply, and somehow not only survive it, but turn it into art. The forgotten Voyager III probe, adrift in the void, had delivered its message. Humanity, in its chaotic, emotional, cacophonous way, had inadvertently reached out and touched the soul of another species, shattering their serenity and perhaps opening them to a universe of feeling they had never dreamed existed. The galaxy was a much louder place for the Lumina now, and the sound of human music, once dismissed as noise, now echoed with the terrifying, awe-inspiring power of a force that could remake a civilization.